Every year, he returned to this sacred grove. The air, thick with the scent of pine and damp earth, was a familiar comfort. For decades, he had made this pilgrimage alone, a silent vow kept to honor those who had fallen beside him, their spirits now woven into the ancient roots and whispering leaves. It was his promise, a burden and a solace he carried in the marrow of his bones. But this year something was amiss. The usual chorus of the forest, the chatter of squirrels, the distant call of a hawk, the rustle of unseen creatures was gone. An unnerving quiet had settled over the trees, a stillness so profound it felt like the world was holding its breath. The forest was watching, as it always did, but the familiar gaze had sharpened. It was no longer the passive observation of old trees. It felt expectant, tense. A twig snapped behind him. The sound, sharp and sudden, shattered the silence like a thrown stone. In a single fluid motion, a lifetime of training taking over, he was on his feet, his body coiled and ready. His hand, calloused and sure, found the hilt of his blade, the cold steel a familiar extension of his will. He spun, his eyes scanning the deepening shadows between the monolithic trunks of the ancient oaks. He expected an ambush, a desperate bandit, or perhaps a beast drawn by the scent of his meager fire. He did not expect the figure that emerged. It was a child, a young girl, no older than 10 summers, wrapped in a cloak skillfully woven from forest leaves and trimmed with the soft, gray fur of a wolf. She stepped from the shadows with a grace that belied her age, her small feet making no sound on the mossy ground. Her eyes, wide and luminous in the encroaching dusk, seemed to hold the light of the first evening stars. They fixed on him, not with fear, but with a strange, knowing certainty. She looked at him as if she had been waiting a very long time. "You're late?" she said. Her voice was small, yet it carried through the silent grove with an authority that made the hairs on his arms stand up. It was not a question or an accusation, but a simple statement of fact. The warrior slowly relaxed his grip on his sword, though his senses remained on high alert. He had traveled these woods his entire life, and had never seen this child. She seemed a part of the forest itself, a spirit given form. "I didn't know anyone was waiting," he replied, his own voice rough from disuse. "I kept it low, trying not to frighten her," though he suspected she was not easily frightened. The girl tilted her head, a gesture of innocent curiosity that contrasted sharply with the ancient wisdom in her gaze. "The forest waits," she explained softly. "It always waits. It remembers everything. The promises made, the blood spilled, the tears that watered the soil." She took a step closer, her lantern-like eyes never leaving his. "And it has something to show you, something you left behind." He was a man who believed in steel and strategy, not spirits and omens. Yet, faced with this child, this emissary of the woods, doubt began to crumble. What could the forests possibly show him that he didn't already carry in his own memory? He had buried his comrades here with his own hands. He had grieved them for half a century. What more was there? "Show me," he said, the words a surrender to the mystery that stood before him. She smiled, a fleeting, gentle curve of her lips. Without another word, she turned and beckoned for him to follow, melting back into the twilight. He hesitated for only a moment before sheathing his blade and stepping after her, deeper into the heart of the watchful, waiting woods. As he followed the small figure cloaked in leaves and fur, he felt a strange sense of peace settle over him for the first time in years. It was not the peace of resignation, but the quiet hum of anticipation. The feeling that a long overdue chapter of his life was finally about to find its end, or perhaps its true beginning. The promise he had kept for so long was not just his to bear. The forest remembered, and tonight it was ready to share its secrets.